I'm hearing bells in my head today.
No, it's kind of like a bong.
Are you hearing bells in your head?
There's like a bong.
Is that what it sounds?
It's not really bells.
That's
it's
not.
like
That's not
bong.
the sound that I'm hearing. What did you hear? Actually, I hung up my tuned wind chimes right outside the studio.
They're tuned?
They're tuned.
I had no idea.
They're actually tuned. They're created so that they create certain music at a certain note. I don't think it sounds like that. So if you're hearing a bong on the video, it's not just in my head, it's in your head too. So I kept saying, Heidi, what am I hearing? What am I hearing? And it's the bong outside. No, it's the tune.
The bong.
How am I ever going to be able to introduce myself? Keep going. Okay, we're not stopping the tape. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You're gonna give everybody the wrong idea.
know,
It's the wind chime.
Oh my gosh. Well, here we go. So for my project today, I dug into my fabric stash and found, what kind of fabric is this?
It's kind of a satin or a sateen.
And what I found is that it works really great with iron-on fusible web and then the Tulip beads in a bottle. And I had a lot of fun creating this actually recently for a blog hop. So today I'm going to try and show you how I made it, if I can stop laughing here. And I think it's really super cool. So this is what I've crafted. You'll see in my demo that I've crafted up a jewelry pouch.
So here's Tiffany.
For your jewelry pouch, you will need several different types of fabric. This is a great project if you'd like to use some of your leftover fabric scraps. You can piece them together for the actual pouch. You can use scraps for the contrasting color. You need a good pair of scissors, a pencil, iron-on fusible web, and I just used some bottles that were on my desk for patterns for circles, for different sizes of circles. You could certainly use any sort of circle template that you have. And I am finishing my jewelry pouch with the Tulip beads in a bottle. So the first step is to create your base for your pouch. So I simply cut my pouch to my desired size, put my fabric right sides together, turned it inside out, ironed it, stitched up a couple of pouches here, and what I want to show you is how to actually decorate the front. I'm going to pull in my ironing mat so that will be ready when we are ready to iron. And as I mentioned, I'm just using some bottles that I have on my desk for a pattern for circles. You could use your die cutter to cut some really cool designs, to do any motif that you'd like to. And cut out your pattern. I liked this particular pattern. It was very contemporary, just some circles to create the essence of flowers. And what I did, of course, is I ironed on that fusible web before I cut, so the fusible web should be, nope, this one still needs to be ironed. I was going to say it should be on that fabric, but I can see that it didn't iron completely. Let me check all of these now. I'm going to give them a real quick ironing here. We want to make sure that that fusible webbing adheres to the back of that fabric. All right, this looks okay. Okay, cool. So I'm putting this design on the front of my pouch. Peel the backing paper off the fusible web, which is very well adhered now that I've just re-ironed it. Here's a little hint for you. If you have a challenge getting the paper to start to release, pull it so that it tears just a little bit, and then it's easier to grab. Or not. There we go. Help, it's sticking to me. A lot of static electricity in that paper tonight. One more. Let's see if I can get this one off easily. All right. I want to keep this bottom design a little bit up from the edge because we're going to put the stems on it. And I like to have a little bit of room in between each of the flowers for my beads in a bottle. You might want to use a pressing cloth for this step depending on the type of fabric that you're using, but you can see how quickly it irons in place. I offset the centers just a little bit. Again, it's a very contemporary design for these. For the stems, I just cut my straight pieces here. Determine the length. Go ahead and cut them to the right length. I want that centered just a little bit more. Let's move that, because once these are ironed down, they are permanent. And last one, just a quick measurement. All right, so I have stitched together the jewelry pouch. And now we are decorating the cover, and it's very pretty, just like that. But I wanted to add a little bit more dimension. So I am using the Tulip beads in a bottle. What you want to do with these to begin with is, let's see if I have a piece of test paper here, is practice just a little bit, because it's a very straight up and down motion to create your little bead. So we're going to practice first, get a feel for the flow. And these come to a little bit of a peak when they first come out of the bottle, and then they will round out, so it gives you a beautiful effect of a real bead. So I'm ready to go on to my pouch. Be sure you give yourself enough space in between each of your beads so as they settle that they don't touch each other. I like to turn my piece so I don't end up putting my finger back into the paint that I've already applied. If you go back and take a look here at the first beads that I applied, they are already starting to settle right down and look like they are rounded and give you the effect that you've actually riveted these in place or ironed them in place. For my centers, I just used my gold beads in a bottle, same way. I love the metallic look. My base fabric is a sateen, and so it's shiny, and putting these metallic colors of beads in a bottle on top of this shiny fabric, I love it, love it, love it. I think I can fit one more right there. I'm going to continue adding the beads. So I am just finishing up the last center on my last flower, and what you want to do is to let this set undisturbed overnight to dry completely. Let me pull this here so you can see all of the design. Let this set undisturbed overnight so that these can dry completely. And you do want to be sure, if you're going to be doing this technique on any sort of wearable, that you do pre-wash the fabric. And always when you're using any sort of fabric paint like this, don't use any fabric softener in the wash or the dryer. So let this dry. The package says 4 hours, but I would let it dry overnight. And then if you have a washable fabric, it can be washed. You just turn it inside out, and you can wash it after 72 hours. But on my little jewelry pouch, I would not have a reason to want to wash this. I've selected a fabric that is not washable. So that is how you create your own contemporary metallic designs on a jewelry pouch. I love creating with fabric.